Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted, the go-to podcast for those flipping the script and taking the unexpected path. I'm your host, Jessica Bergio, holistic life and business coach, author, speaker, and self-proclaimed high-energy hype girl. Each week, I'm bringing you inside. No gatekeeping here. I'll touch on proven holistic business strategies, powerful mindset shifts that have led my clients through massive transformations, and no BS conversation with industry leaders designed to help you get out of your own way to actively pursue a life of purpose. If you're ready to ditch the limitations at the door, hit follow and get ready to be activated to step boldly towards your big goals. Now let's dive in. Welcome back to Unscripted, the podcast. It's your girl, Jess Bergio, with another episode about how powerful podcasting can be for your business and for your life. I know I've said it once, I'll say it a million times over. Podcasting has been the catalyst for me in growing my network, in growing my net worth, and also the ability to create opportunities out of things I didn't even know would ever be an opportunity for me. So I'm going to run through a workshop with you guys that I'm going to be hosting on Thursday at one of my girlfriend's spaces up in Orange County. She invited me to come speak about the power of podcasting and how you can become a powerful thought leader in your niche, how to start, grow, and scale your show, and then how to be a powerful AF guest on a podcast if you're absolutely adamant that you do not want to have your own podcast. And so I feel like, I've talked about this a few times on my podcast here. And while some of you may still think like you don't want to have a podcast, I want to ask you a simple question. How are you positioning yourself to have endless amounts of opportunity in the future if you ever do want to maybe do something different? That's just food for thought. Because I remember 5 years ago when I was desperately looking for more than what I was currently sitting in, I had wished that I had started my podcast a couple years earlier so that I would have had more options and more opportunity to pivot when I was ready to pivot. Because for the longest time, I was good. I was super good doing what I was doing behind the chair. I had aspirations of opening a salon, but I wasn't quite ready yet. Kai was still really little. That's my son, who's now 13 and a half. But I knew that I had goals that were bigger than I could be dreaming at the time because I was so bogged down in my business, doing the things I'd always been doing in order to, quote unquote, get by for the most part at that time in my life. But I knew that there was more out there for me. And I wish I could have seen the bigger picture around starting to bring people along that journey, being vulnerable and brave enough to share kind of what I was going through in my life at that time. But I didn't see how it was all going to tie together in the form of a business. And I've always tried to be really intentional when it comes to, what I talk about or what I do. Again, we didn't have social media platforms like we do now, or even I wasn't as deep into them as I am now, even 5-6 years ago. So I take you back to a time where, I grew my behind the chair business as a hair and makeup artist through guerrilla marketing, through referral-based business marketing. And while that was amazing, and I still think those are key ways to grow, especially an in-person business or a one-to-one service business, gone are the days where we can't use online social media or a website or platforms to leverage what we potentially want to be growing or building. And when you can create, need for your services or your business or the things that you provide, the more that you can charge, the more in demand you will be, the more you can be selective around who you work with or the opportunities, maybe sometimes distractions that you're saying yes or no to. And so once I finally got over the fear of starting the podcast, really it was the pain point that hit me super hard during COVID when my salon that I had finally opened after 15 years of dreaming of having my own space was shut down 6 months after I opened it. I was out of excuses. Time and money were no longer the thing that were holding me back. It was literally, I couldn't have enough time. And I actually had some resources set aside because I knew that I wanted to either expand the salon or expand what I now know as my personal brand. Because if you are building something that is outside of you, it is really difficult to pivot or take that with you when you want to do something different. People don't know you for the thing you're potentially trying to create or pivot into. And it's why podcasts can help you connect deeper to people and gain the confidence that you're somebody they want to spend time with or they potentially want to buy from or invest in. And it can really build lasting relationships if you learn how to strategically position yourself with your own podcast. And you might think, oh, how am I ever going to get big guests on my show? I've never even had a show, or I don't really have social media to leverage. I'm here to tell you that you really can be the next best thing. You have to believe in yourself and the vision that you have for your potential brand and your podcast more than you're asking someone who is looking at you like a brand new podcaster would. You have to bring the energy. You have to bring the hype. You have to be excited about what you have to say, knowing that you don't have to recreate the wheel. You just have to be excited about whatever it is you're bringing into the world, your thought, your perspective, your experience that is very unique to you, right? So there's a few bullet point takeaways that I'm going to share with the group when I see them on Thursday. And then I'm sure this will spiral into a variety of questions that I get as I talk about podcasting as a powerful leverage and platform for you to grow your thought leadership and expand in so many other ways with creating content. So the first one is that I tell everybody, you're probably going to suck, and that's okay. You're probably going to suck in the beginning, not really know what to do. We all can get better. I continuously work on my cadence with the tone of the podcast. I'm a fast talker. I like to listen to fast talking podcasts. So that's the type of content that I create. I try not to draw out my tone, and I try to get to the point and give you guys value with these episodes, or to bring on other people who have skill sets and experiences and teachable things that are tangible for you that I don't have. That's why I like to facilitate a lot of amazing conversations with people, and to know that you're just a beginner when you start. You don't suck. You're just a beginner. It's not imposter syndrome. You're just a beginner. Why would you be good at something you've never done before? And maybe you will be good. Maybe you'll be amazing. But I guarantee if you start off pretty good or amazing, you're going to get 10 times better if you put the effort and work into, perfecting your whatever it is that maybe you don't love in the beginning, right? Is it your interview style? Is it your thought, like the way that you string thoughts together? Can you land the plane? Can you do concise information that people are going to be able to then turn around and utilize? Are you going to be able to hype people up through your podcast? What is your mission and your vision and the legacy you want to create with your show, or the content even that you're creating? Like maybe you're like, I don't ever want to have a podcast, but maybe it's the content you're creating on social media. Maybe you're new to that. Maybe it's foreign to you. Maybe for your business, you've never had to do that before. Maybe you worked for somebody and you stumbled upon this podcast and you've been in corporate and you're like, I wouldn't even know the first thing about building my personal brand. When I tell you that a podcast can help you create a network that you never saw possible for yourself, it truly can. The second bullet point that I wanted to share with that group and with you guys today is the podcast can help you build the strongest personal brand possible, because often if we sell one specific service or an offering, it's very niche into that. Let's just give hairdressing, for example. But people want to know who they're coming to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours of time with. So gone are the days where you can just be a great hairdresser and give the quality service, meaning like someone's coming and they're paying you top dollar and they're leaving with an amazing haircut. They want to have an amazing experience. They want to like you. They want to vibe with you. They might have the world's best haircut, but you weren't really fun to be around and the experience wasn't that great. They're not coming back. So you have the permission to know you don't have to be the best, but you have to give a great client experience. You have to give a great overall experience for people to want to be in your world. And so if you can do that through thought-provoking content, that you can be a great facilitator of information, people start to look to you as the go-to person to be around, to spend time with, to get filled up with. And that's what podcasts are for a lot of people. So it's helped me create a personal brand I never thought possible for myself. And it's such a flattering statement when people are like, oh my gosh, you're exactly the same in person as you are on your podcast or on social media. That to me is my true ethos of authenticity is your superpower. And so if you are building a personal brand based on authenticity, a podcast can really showcase that for you and really position you as that person that people want to know, like, and trust. The third bullet point I wanted to share was the power of guesting, being a guest on someone else's podcast for reach and for social proof. So when I started my show, I did not spend enough time guesting on other people's shows. I was too busy building up my own platform and getting guests on my show to really spend that much time guesting on other people's shows, where I think I missed the mark, where I could have been collaborating with other people's audiences and co-creating good content that maybe could have gone on both of our respected podcasts, especially as I was growing. I didn't have a huge following. I didn't have a lot of listeners at the time. And that would have been really smart of me to position myself as a thought leader who was having this up and coming podcast and that was really excited to share content. I definitely missed the mark on that. And I still, to this day, do my best to get on as many podcasts as I can to, one, talk about my podcast, to bring people into my world, and to, of course, give value to their show and be an asset to all of the people that I have the honor of being in their life, to share my thoughts, to share my experiences, and to share my, knowingness of things that could potentially help somebody when they listen to their episode. Okay, and then the last bullet point that I want to share, which is really, really important, is how we do anything is generally how you do everything. How you do anything is generally how you do everything. So, what does that mean when it comes to podcasting? I knew that when I started my show, I didn't want to just be another lost in the sauce podcaster. I wanted to be interesting. I wanted to be better than average. The majority of people spend so much time trying to fit in and not stand out and not, ruffle feathers. But with a podcast, you literally can do the most. You can be as interesting as possible. You can do things that other people wouldn't typically do on their show. You can talk about anything you want on this show. There's literally no rules with podcasting, which is kind of a trip and hard for a lot of us who need structure. But for those of you, and I'm working with a client right now, she actually has a business podcast that's niched very specifically to accounting. She wants to create her own podcast, and I can literally feel like her soul's calling right now to create this podcast, and she's going to. We talk strategy. This podcast is for her future self. It's for her current self and her future self. So as she's growing and elevating, as she's becoming who she's wanting to be, she wants to bring people along on that journey. She wants to highlight that, which is so freaking cool to me that she's willing to get vulnerable enough. And as she says, super uncomfortable to talk about the things that have been on her soul and on her heart that she doesn't feel necessarily are appropriate for her tangible, hard-hitting people in the accounting space that want to learn tactics that they can apply to their business or use for their clients. So her mission really is to create permission for people to step into the next version of themselves by sharing her personal stories, by sharing the things that really light her up that she is truly excited about. So if you are feeling truly lit up about something, or you have a certain position on something and you really want to vocalize that, a podcast can be a powerful platform for you to invite people into that thought, to invite people into that conversation, to find your people, to find your tribe by speaking your truth. And your message truly does matter. I swear, I'm not just throwing, some hype on something. I really believe that there's a demographic for you, for your energy, for your thought content, for who you want to be, who you want to call into your space in your world. And a podcast is a beautiful way to create community. It truly is. Inviting people into the conversations, engaging them with them on social media, having a place where you can double down on your content and put it in all varieties of places, Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook, obviously, Instagram, and then the world. This is something that can go global. I have listeners all over the country, all over the world who tune into my show. And I would have never been able to reach them if I was just staying local and doing hair and makeup. But I've been able to diversify how I make money, how I network, how my own personal education in life has grown and expanded in so many ways because I've put myself out there. Is it always easy? No. Is it work? Yes, like anything good. How much effort I put in is the direct results that I get back. And I've seen clients of mine who didn't have a lot of direction when they started their show, but they're now authors and they're now going on book tours and they're now getting invitations to be on podcasts because they were willing to put themselves out there with a podcast. Before they had any clear idea of what their brand or business was going to evolve into, it was through having these powerful conversations that they found what the next right thing was for them and had the bravery to step into it because they had created a platform where people gave them the validation and the support around the conversations that they really, truly wanted to have. And so this is my nudge, my encouragement to you to chat with me if you want more information, but there are so many amazing creators out there that teach on podcasting. So if you don't work with me, I'm sure you can find somebody to work with, but I'm inviting you into my space. I'm doing one-to-one consulting for this now because I've seen so many people start and not continue. I've seen people be too scared to start. I've seen people get stuck on the smallest things. I've seen people try to go so big that it overwhelms them to the point they don't start. I've seen people start and then flail off later on. Having strategy and having someone that's gone before you who's doing the thing is the key, I think, for mentorship and growth. Coaching for me has kind of like taken a back seat in the sense of I don't position myself as a coach. I'm literally your podcast mentor who's already been walking the walk and can help you kind of see from a high level, an editor style view of what you could be doing and how well you could be doing something to really strategically position yourself as the expert you want to be known as and or create the leverage you want in your business or your life through a podcast. So again, I'm always encouraging you guys to push the limits and push yourself out of your comfort zone, to try new things and to put yourself out there because I swear it's through these really hard growth moments that you will feel and see the expansion that you deep down want to have, but you're maybe not willing to honor or to give space and time for. And I tell you, when you commit to something long-term like this, it will change the game for you. It's not about being the best of the best. It's about staying in the game and being consistent. It's why my show is a top 1.5% podcast, not because of my downloads, but because of my consistency level and the reach that I do have. That's possible for anybody. And if I can do it, a behind the chair hairdresser who had no high level education, who started a podcast on a whim, dusted off a microphone I bought 2 years prior and just figured it out as I went, you can too. I promise you. And if a podcast doesn't feel right for you now, I feel like keep it in the forefront of your mind around how could you be leveraging yourself to create bigger opportunities for yourself in the future that are going to get you where you want to be in life. I see you. I honor you. I'm so proud of all of the hard work everyone I see around me is putting into, really showing up. I know 2025 had a lot of promises behind it. And I know so many of you are, struggling with things behind the scenes that you're not showing on social media. And I honor that. I too was going through some challenging stuff the last couple of months. And I know it's tough to keep going when life is lifing, but knowing that I have a community of people out there that want to hear from me, that want to connect with me, really keeps me going. And so let that be the last and final thing that incentivizes you to potentially create community through a podcast, because your people are out there and they want to hear from you and they want to connect with you. I'm sending you so much love. If this episode hit home for you, let me know. Hit me up. Let's chat in the DM. Send me a message or a voice note on Instagram of how I can support you in growing and leveraging your own podcast. If you want to follow me over on my new page, I'll tag that below in the show notes. I have, kind of come to terms with the fact that my personal page is my personal page. Y'all know. But if you want to go follow me at the Podcast Success Coach, that's where I'll be focusing more of my energy on podcast mentorship and helping you grow your show and scaling your show and doing all that. So again, that's the Podcast Success Coach on Instagram. And we'll be keeping the regular shenanigans over on the Jessica Bergio page because we love a good shenanigans and a good coffee photo and, just all of the other things. And that is speaking from someone who's built a personal brand that now can leverage a few different things and be able to be a creative entrepreneur who has multi-passionate aspirations to do a lot of things while also staying very true and clear to what it is I want to be talking about right now, which is helping you expand and grow your visibility and become the thought leader I know you want to be. So I'm sending you guys so much love. If you're in person and you want to join me for one of the upcoming Entrepreneur Success Series events, we have those the first Thursday of every month here in my San Diego Creative House SD space. I host those with my girl, Jamie, and she's known as the ad expert on Instagram. We co-host these. We have 3 thought leaders that come and share a 10-minute or so cheat code around how they become successful. We leave it open for Q&A. It's basically like a high-level, really fun networking event. Everyone in the audience gets to intro themselves, give a small pitch if you have one, and just really connect a little bit before and then a lot after the speakers go. Interactive question time. Think of it like a live podcast mixed with networking, snacks, food, drinks. They've been super fun. We just hosted our 4th one, I think. And no signs of stopping. And I've recently got to collab with somebody who's going to probably be partnering with me here on the space, who is a brand photographer who's just next level. I cannot wait to intro that and share more with you guys on that. But if you want to have a VIP day here in San Diego at Creative House SD, let me know. We do everything from high-level strategy in your business to creative direction with branding. We also offer photos, content, B-roll, think content VIP day mixed with high-level strategy, because we need to know where this content's going and how we can position and leverage your products and services for the next 6 months to 12 months. They've been game changers for a lot of our clients, and I'm really excited to have somebody full-time to partner with here in the space. So all exciting stuff. Walt's life is lifing. So again, I see you. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next episode of Unscripted. Giving back is easy. Leave Unscripted your 5-star rating and written review. I appreciate your support more than I could ever put into words.